Hey guys, thanks for joining me for another Dissidia Final Fantasy Opera Omnia video, and today we are going to do a character guide on Ursula. Now, Ursula is a character that, if you saw my summon video, I did not get her, but man, I've just been like hearing more about her, watching videos on her, and I just really kind of want her. I think she's really cool. So I did go back in, and knowing that we've got, I think, Ifrit Divine boards are coming up soon, I actually felt okay jumping in. So I did a couple hundred more tickets, and I did pick her up. I decided to blue her out. I really like the kit. I like the character. She's definitely not like a needed character by any means. But anyways, for this video, this is a character guide, not like a should you pull guide, right? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to talk about types of spheres you should use on her. We're going to look at her artifact passives, and then we'll do a little bit of gameplay, and I'll kind of explain her kit a little bit, and we'll talk about some cycles, okay? So for artifacts, I actually don't have any of her best artifacts yet. I haven't done a ton of farming. But basically what you would want is attack 108, and then you want Princess of Fabul up, which is, while she's got her buff on, it's max brave and attack by 5%. Now, max brave 330 isn't a bad one, and I actually think the brave attack up isn't a bad one, where she gets 10% attack while her max brave is at 50% of max. So basically any combination of attack, max brave, and then I would say brave attack up or Princess of Fabul up, those are her best. But I would say if you want the best, I would want 3 attack 108 and 3 Princess of Fabul. That would be my number one choice for those artifacts, right? Spheres. I've been talking about spheres a little bit. So the general idea with A spheres is this. Remember, there are a ton of different A spheres up there. Most characters just want attack and max brave. Ursula really isn't any different from that. However, something I highlighted in one of my other videos is that if a character has some type of specialty, I like giving them A spheres that go with that. So for example, if it's a range damage dealer, I like using range damage spheres on them, just because not every character can use those, right? So something Ursula has in her gimmick is her kit allows her to hit weakness damage. So I decided I wanted to go weakness damage A spheres. So I thought Lulu's was really good. It's int brave and max brave by 10% for 3 turns when attacking a target's weakness. And then I thought Zell's was another good one. When attacking target's weakness, attack by 10% for 6 turns. So those were the ones I did. You do not have to use weakness damage A spheres. Anything that's going to increase your attack and brave damage, that's basically, you really can't go wrong. And refined spheres are fine as well. And then for D sphere, typically a general rule is the character's own sphere is probably going to be their best or one of their best. The only exception would be is if their sphere is just a bad one. For example, some spheres only take effect when you take HP damage. I personally don't like spheres where I want to count on taking HP damage. But of course, it depends on the character and kit, right? So her D sphere is when attacking the target's weakness, raises the party's max brave by 5% for 6 turns. So it's a really nice support type D sphere. Once again, anything D sphere that involves either raising her own or the party's max brave and attack, I think is a good option. Just make sure it's a sphere that she can hit, right? So if it requires debuffs or buffs, just make sure that Ursula can do what you want it to do. But those are the 3 I went ahead and chose for her. So now let's go ahead and we'll just jump into a fight here really quick. And we will kind of talk about the kits, some of the main rotations and things like that. So we'll just do no friend unit and we'll just hop in. Okay, so I really like Ursula because she just does some really unique things. So what I'm going to kind of do is I'm going to play out maybe a typical rotation that I would do for her, and then I'll kind of explain what the kit does as I do it, okay? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to start off with her LD attack. So basically her LD attack, one thing about her LD attack, I'll kind of explain as I go here, but her LD ignores defense, and then she's going to get a free skill use on her next turn, and then she's going to get a Pride of the Father buff, and it's going to give her like her HP attack. It's kind of like Lena, where when she uses her HP attack, she gets the LD attack, she gets an HP plus, like a unique attack, but she's going to get 2 turns of it. So it's not just like a 1-turn HP plus. Okay. And then it basically is just granting more buffs to the party. And then the other thing that this buff does is if an enemy goes and then one of your own party members goes after the enemy, she's actually going to jump in front. So she's kind of like a turn stealer, right? So we're going to kind of go through here and attack through. So we're going to do that. Okay, and then Machina. I'm not going to go crazy with Machina here, so let's just do a brave attack just to get the turn. Oh, of course he's like free turning it up. Okay, here we go. All right, so now what you do is after you use the LD and you get the free turn, I recommend you go into Chakra. Chakra is one of the reasons that I really, really liked Ursula. So what Chakra does is, look at the Brave gains we just got, right? Like, absolutely insane. The thing with it is, it's not actually a Brave gain. It just like sets the party Brave to like 120% of their max Brave. So what happens is when these Lufenia Plus fights really have Brave gain reduction, she's not affected by that. Her Brave gains from that is just going to be insane because it's setting it. It's not actually doing a Brave gain. And it also extends her buffs by 1 turn, and she gets a free turn to attack again, right? Now from there, you'll see that I have the Tenshoha attack for HP. That's the special HP attack that we've got, right? So what I usually do is I'll use either Tenketsu, which is her S1, or Tenosha. So we'll go ahead and use Tenosha. And so what Tenosha does, it batteries the party before she attacks, and then it's kind of like Ursurla, where basically it just does damage based on what the party's max Brave is. So it's very, very cool. So you want to make sure before you use Tenshoha that you have a lot of max Brave. So you can see right now everybody's almost capped on Brave. So I could go ahead and use Tenshoha again. It's a good combo when you get that free turn to use Chakra first, because then you know your max Brave is going to be really high. And then you go into Tenshoha and do a lot of damage, right? But we'll go ahead and do the S1 here, which is Tenketsu. So we'll attack with that next. Tenketsu basically is just your filler attack. So like whenever you're in between doing buffs or whatever and you just want to use something, that's kind of what you can use. Her S1 is great because it does instant break. So she's got 2 attacks in her kit. So she's got 2 attacks in her kit that do ignore defense, and then she's got this for instant break, which is fantastic. And then it's also doing a battery. And then it does some buffs and some debuffs. This is the one that gives her like the weakness damage. So if that weakness damage buff goes away, S1 is what you can do to kind of refill that, right? So we're going to kind of keep going through the fight here. Because we haven't used the EX yet. So we'll try to get the EX charged here. What I might do is I might just Chakra up to it. We'll just do a Furious Blades here. Okay. So then what we'll do is because since Chakra is free turns, we can just use this till our EX is ready. And then we can kind of hop into it. But basically, you're just kind of managing this and then doing that. The other thing I wanted to mention about the LD. The LD, basically, part of what she gets from that buff is that the party can't be broken. So what happens is the party's max Brave can't go below 20%. So basically means you can't be broken, and your party's always going to have some Brave. So that's the other thing to note about her LD that's really, really good. Now, her EX is very, very fast charging. So we're going to go ahead and do the EX here. And so this is going to give you a battery based on the party max Brave. Then she's going to attack. This is also a defense ignoring attack. So this one in the LD, ignore defense. I love attacks that ignore defense, and I love instant break. So that's part of the reason I like Bards. It's because he has instant break, right? These 2 things are really good because a lot of Lufenia Plus bosses can get very, very tanky, or they literally will like do a huge Brave gain and then make it so you only do 1 damage. So when you have like the ignore defense or instant breaks, like that kind of stuff is very, very useful, right? And then this is just giving her more stat boosts and buffs and things like that. Once again, I don't like to get too technical. We just kind of go through it. So that's basically Ursula in a nutshell. Very, very cool character. We'll just kind of go through and do a couple more attacks here, but just so you can kind of see the damage and kind of look at it. So her damage, as you can see here, it's not like the craziest, right? But I would consider her more of like a utility Brave gain / semi damage dealer. But she's never going to be your primary damage. But I think there's a lot to like here with her free turns, her turn stealing, any of that type of stuff I think could be very, very useful for her. The big thing I like though, like I said, is the huge Brave gains that she can get with her Chakra that basically ignore the Brave gain down mechanic from Lufenia bosses. So we'll go ahead and do 1 more attack with Ursula here because we got the free turn. So once again, I use the LD, right? So now party can't be broken. We've got all of our crazy buffs up. We got our free turn. So once again, what you do is you free turn Chakra. And then the other thing to note here too is notice that my Tenshoha is at 3 stacks right now. So it's not like you only get 2 stacks and then you lose it. If you don't want to use your Tenshohas right away, you can build the stacks up. So now I've got 3 attacks of Tenshoha, so I can do that again. and you can see it's going to be based, my party max brave is huge right now, and you can see it just blew up the enemies for AoE 330, which is really, really good. So if the you just want to make sure party max brave is really high before you jump into that. So anyways, guys, let me know if this was helpful. Thanks for watching. We'll catch you all in the next one.